Light corrosion on J212 and J206. One leg of BR3 failed. BR3 cleanly clipped from the board. The through holes at BR3 cleaned out nicely. New bridge soldered in and the legs clipped outside of the solder meniscus. Top view of the new bridge. And a side view of the new bridge where you can see that the bridge has been soldered both on the top side and on the back side of the board. This is a 16 Opto board that somebody had worked on before, and they did a quite hackish job of removing and presumably installing a new LM339 there. So I've beefed up some of the traces. I don't know if I can show it on the video, but some of these through holes are just damaged so badly that at this point it just makes sense to jumper where necessary. I replaced this cap, which often leaks and destroys the traces underneath there, and I did test this 16 Opto board on my bench with the MPU and driver board that came with it, and I'd show you that test, but it takes 3 hands to do that test, so I'm going to skip that for now. We're going to get a test report because we're not in an actual game. Normal stuff. So let's test the switches first on the MPU board. And you can see that all 8 rows and all 8 columns are working perfectly fine. Let's check solenoid test. And I will make that run instead of repeating. Dirty Harry also drives some solenoids from an 8 driver board. So that's all the solenoids that are working. Let's make sure that the GI is working correctly. And it is. Do lamps and flashers at the same time. All working correctly. The driver board, I forgot what the report was on this, but I did the standard rehab. The power input, top 4 pin connector is ground. Here's a 12 volt unregulated input. Power output, general illumination connectors all replaced. C2 had just begun to leak a little bit. I replaced it. I always replaced C4. It's in the 5 volt circuit. I added this 1N5401 diode. It's a blocking diode that prevents C11 from being destroyed if connectors are placed incorrectly. And I replaced C5, the only critical capacitor besides C4 in the logic or 5 volt logic circuit. So that's good to go. The client or somebody had installed NVRAM on the MPU board and did a nice job with that. I replaced the power input header. I'm going to put C31 there. Shamey, I forgot to put that on there. Shows you how important that cap is if you've got a good clean 5 volts. And I added a different reset generator. There was some corrosion all the way down here, so all 6 of the switch matrix headers have been replaced, and there's no other corrosion on the board, so that was very fortunate. But these are all good to go. Thank you so much for sending them.